Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Florida, and welcome. This is our daily broadcast that we're doing in support of our Kickstarter project, which is to create the Infinite Tarot, and you can learn more about that at tarotai.com. And tonight we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then if people like, I will do a few readings with the cards, and then after that, we can socialize a little if we like. So the Infinite Tarot is based on the Tarot of Hecate. And you can see it has the infinity sign on the back, courtesy of Mary Ann Kay. The Tarot of Hecate was designed back in the 1980s. It was originally a black and white deck. Today, it's a full color deck. And it is a 100 card tarot. I designed it with inspiration from the late Lady Bitterwind, the beloved Bitterwind, the former first elder of the Correllian tradition, who felt that the 78 card traditional tarot no longer served modern purposes and needed to be expanded. And using her ideas, we expanded the Tarot of Hecate to be 100 cards. We did this by adding an additional suit and a number of major arcana cards. And it made a particular difference to the numerology of the deck and drastically changes the numerology in a way that I felt was particularly beneficial. But that's the Tarot of Hecate, and it is the core deck for the Infinite Tarot. But then in addition to that, we expand in a number of other directions. And this includes an astrology deck, which has the traditional planets and signs, a rune deck, which has the three Aether of the runes, and you can see what it looks like. A numerology deck, which obviously is based on numerology and works with the numbers. And these particular cards are designed to look like stained glass. A muse deck featuring the 9 muses of classical mythology, and the Shengzhou deck, which is Chinese and Asian astrology, and you can see it has the animal signs. In addition to which, other decks are planned to expand the scope of the Infinite Tarot. And what you do is you choose what resonates with you, and you can add them into your personal Infinite Tarot. You can take other cards out if they don't resonate with you, and make it into a much more individualized tarot deck. And you may think that this is a great departure from traditional tarot, and certainly it is in more recent centuries. But if you go back to the roots of tarot, this actually is very much along the lines of the earliest tarots we know of, which were commissioned individually and made by hand in the aristocratic courts of Renaissance Italy, and did often have many different kinds of additional cards that we don't have in the later 78 card tarot, according to what resonated to the person who commissioned the deck. So in a way, it's very revolutionary. In a way, it's very traditional. The other thing about the Infinite Tarot is that, in my view, well, first, as a Correllian, I look upon the tarot as a visual scripture. It tells the story of the creation of the universe, or rather of the multiverse, and the soul's journey through it. And all of these different editions and other ones to come reflect the infinite nature of the multiverse, which is in a constantly expanding state and has many different iterations of existence. And this allows a deck that reflects that diversity of being. And so these are the things that go into the Infinite Tarot deck at present. There is a Witches deck coming. There are others that are planned, which will be further expansions. And the idea is that even long after the Kickstarter, we will continue expanding the deck. So the idea, I think, basically is to continue expanding it throughout my lifetime and perhaps beyond, depending what other artists we can involve. And the goal is not always to be only my artwork, but we do hope to involve others as well. And the other thing I wanted to talk about tonight is that we do have a Create a Card offer, which at least one of the people in the room tonight has taken advantage of. But I wanted to talk a few minutes about that. And the idea of the Create a Card is that you can have a card made just for you, or if you want, even more than one card made just for you. And that can be one of several things. It can be a card depicting you as the tarot card of your choice. And that can be done in a number of different ways. These are the Corellian Ancestor cards. They are a different deck that's not part of the Kickstarter, but here you can see one of them. This is the beloved Lady Bitter Wind, who we were speaking of just a few minutes ago. And as you can see, this card is done in photo collage. It starts with a photograph of the lady and then becomes an artwork. That's one way that a Create a Card can be done for a person. It can be done with a photo that the person chooses. Can then be made into the card of their desiring, or it can be done more like the other cards we're using here, where it's actually a drawing of the, and in this case would be a drawing of the person rather than a photograph. So that's another choice. Or the card doesn't actually have to be of the person if that isn't what they want. It can be whatever card they choose to ask for and design. So there are a lot of choices with the Create a Card. So these are some of the things we're offering through the Kickstarter. You can learn more at tarotai.com. And I want to thank all the people who have backed the Kickstarter so far. We're very grateful. And I think people are going to be very pleased as it develops. And at that point, I guess I would ask if anyone would like to have a brief reading with the cards. Ah, Fluffy. Very good. Do you have a particular question?
No, I just would like to see what the universe has in mind for me.
Very good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Tarot of Hecate for this question. And as we go through the questions, I will add some of the other decks, but we're just going to start with the basic one since it's already expanded. So we're going to draw 3 cards, and our first card is the Body, which is one of the additional cards. Our second card is Time, also one of the additional cards. And our third card is the King of Lamps, which comes from the additional suit. So the Body, and every card can be taken on different levels. They have a theological level, a cosmological level, and a very mundane level as well. I would say that the Body in this case indicates concern with health issues, and with physicality, with practicality and everyday life. With it is the Time card, and the Time card says that all things pass, all things change, all things grow. And the current situations will move forward and are not indicative of what the future holds. The future is ruled by the King of Lamps. The King of Lamps basically is spiritual connection. And I don't know if you can see in the card, the king is meditating, and it's saying to look within yourself for the answers that you need to go forward, look within yourself for the strength you need to go forward, and don't worry too much about outside things. Not to say ignore them, but don't worry about them, because your inner focus, your spiritual connection will give you what you require. And we're going to draw 3 more. We have the 7 of Swords, the Queen of Coins, and the 6 of Swords. So the 7 of Swords says that you may feel the effort that is required in coming weeks or months. I'm going to say months, but it's all very doable. You just may at times feel like you're putting out a lot of effort. You have the Queen of Coins, which says, yes, you may feel that you're putting out a lot of effort, but you're going to be in a good situation. The Queen of Coins is prosperity, security, being in a good, strong situation where you don't really have to worry, which doesn't mean you may not, but you don't have to. And the Six of Swords says that I often take it as a physical trip or change in location. It's always best to read when you don't know what's going on, because then you're less inclined to read into it. But I would take this to mean a change in physical location, which I know is something that will be coming for you. But it could also represent a change in an inner traveling, an inner trip, an inner growth. Let me draw another card to go with it. We've drawn the Hermit. And the Hermit in the Tarot of Hecate basically is personal competence and the ability to deal with everything you need to deal with, particularly in a magical, spiritual sense. So it's coming back to the King of Lamps saying that the real way to approach your situations for you in this time period, which is, let's say, 6 months, is through your spiritual self. And if you do that, it's all going to work out beautifully. There is a change in location. I do think that is location, not an interchange. There is prosperity. And sometimes you may feel like it's a lot, but it's all very doable as long as you maintain your spiritual connection. Do not, under any circumstances, stop working with your spirituality. Make sure you stay spiritually connected. And I think things will be pretty good. Let's draw one last card, because I can't help myself. We've drawn the Ace of Swords. So I think you're going to find a very important decision is going to have to be made during that time. And I think it's going to affect your life across the board. It's not like a little decision. It's a big, what do I do going forward decision. It's going to hang over this whole period. But the things that apply to it are exactly what we've been saying. Trust your spirituality, keep your spiritual connection strong, and trust your judgment. And one more. We've drawn the Universe card. And the universe basically is getting everything that you would want. So if you trust your spirituality, if you stay connected to your spirituality in dealing with these physical issues, current situations will pass. There are changes coming, but they're good. The outcome, the universe really couldn't be a better outcome card. So as long as you stay spiritually connected, I think you're going to be very happy with what you get. And there you go. I hope that was helpful.
It was extremely helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's very much.
Crystal next.
Crystal's next.
And I'm not sure if I see Crystal. Yes, I do see Crystal. Hi, Crystal.
Oh, hello, Lord Don. How are you today?
I'm good. The computer is a little farther away from me than it normally is, so it's a little harder for me to see. It's good to see you.
Good, thank you.
I'm going to add the numerology cards in. So what would you like to know? Do you have a particular question, or do you just want to see what they have to tell you?
I would just like to see what the universe has to tell me today, too. Thank you.
Very good. So I'll tell you, there's a card that tried to jump out, but didn't quite succeed. And we'll see if she comes out again in the reading. This happened also with Fluffy, because the body card, which was his first card, also tried to jump out of the deck. And of course, how important it will be depends on the other cards. So our first card is the 10 of Lamps, followed by the 11, followed by the Queen of Coins. And since we're just asking what they have to say to you today, I would say this would cover the next couple of weeks, probably the near future. And I'm going to turn these around so you can see the pictures. I personally do not read reversed cards because when I first started reading, I had a tendency to flip the cards in a way that just made me feel more comfortable always reading them upright. And I find that I get quite enough out of that. The 10 of Lamps, you can see in the center is the protagonist who is being struck by lightning as an eye opens above her crown chakra. And this has to do with spiritual epiphany. So I would say that you may find yourself on the edge of a spiritual epiphany, an opening of consciousness, a new understanding of something in the spiritual realm that you have not fully understood before, or maybe a looking at it in a different way. It should seem, will probably seem rather abrupt and rather sudden, but it's positive. It's a deeper understanding. I will say that I've often found when you get those sudden understandings, your first reaction tends to be, oh, well, I knew that, except you really didn't. And it's coming to understand what you already had an intellectual knowledge of in a deeper and more spiritual way. I'm going to draw a card to go with it. The 5 of Coins. The 5 of Coins is not a particularly good card. It's a card of feeling loss of something or someone. So I would say that this spiritual epiphany is going to have to do with things that either have left your life or that you're considering removing from your life, and with why this is and what you've learned from it. And so it's coming into the benefit of events that may not have been all that happy to go through, but now, in a spiritual sense, they are opening your consciousness, they're leading you forward, they're positive. The 11, which goes with it, is a card of psychic ability, of psychic opening. And so this may also have a psychic component in the sense that it may involve an opening, a deeper opening of clairvoyance, a deeper opening of perhaps spirit messaging. Whatever you may work with, I think you're going to find it deepening, and deepening in the very near future. The Queen of Coins, Queen of Pentacles, is prosperity, stability, security, having enough for yourself and enough to share with others. So it's saying that in all physical ways, you're going to be in a very good position, but you do have this kind of spiritual opening that perhaps has already started, but certainly is coming in the very near future. Now let's draw 3 more for you. And we have the 6 of Lamps, the 10, and the 4 of Swords. And, you know, synchronicity is working with us, because what are the odds of drawing the 10 and 11 in exactly the same places from a random place in the deck? So the 6 of Lamps, I'm going to turn her around so you can see. The protagonist is basically seeking spiritual answers. And this goes along with what we've been saying. So, and you can also see that she's having a vision as she's seeking her answers under this tree, which represents receiving the answers. So it isn't just that you're going to find yourself seeking answers, but you'll be receiving answers to things you've wanted a deeper understanding of. And I would say that is the primary thing in your immediate future, that deeper understanding, perhaps psychic opening. The 10 is kind of a reset button in a way, because in numerology, 10 is more or less equal to 1, because you add the numbers together. And of course, 0 does not change the 1. That also has a deeper cosmological meaning in that even though you're adding a 0 to it, the 1 remains itself as it was in the beginning. 1 is the number of creation, new beginnings, charting courses, starting out on journeys. And 10 is kind of coming back to the place you started and starting in a new direction. So I think what you're going to find is that you're going to have this spiritual epiphany that we're talking about, and that's going to perhaps change some of the directions that you're going in, but I don't think in a drastic way. 4 of Swords, I'm going to turn it around. The 4 of Swords is letting go of something, at least in this instance. So in terms of that new direction, in terms of that spiritual epiphany, we're kind of coming back to this 5 of coins, which says something either has or is going out of your life in connection to this deeper spiritual understanding. And I'm going to draw another card to go with that specifically. And we've drawn the 5. And 5 is communication. 5 is movement. 5 is motion. And looking at that as a modifier for the 4 of Swords, I think I would have to say that in terms of whatever this is that's going out of your life, it's going or has gone so quickly that you may not have been entirely aware of its exit, but it is leading to a deeper spiritual epiphany. And of course, when anything leaves, something else comes in, which brings us back to the 10, which is new beginnings. And then I'm going to draw 3 more cards, and we'll sum it up. We have the 9 of coins, the 9. I was wondering if that 3rd card was going to be another 9, but no.
Those two.
And I'm going to turn these 2 around. So the 9 of Pentacles basically is competence and ability to do what you want to do, to influence your situation. So it's kind of coming back here to the Queen of Coins and saying that whatever else is happening here, you're completely in charge of your situation. It's a spiritual epiphany, spiritual changes. Things may be exiting, but your life is fine, and you're in charge of it. You are not reacting to situations, but actively charting your course. And the 9 from the numerology deck, 9 is a very spiritual number, a very humanitarian number, and it's saying that as this is happening, it's going to, if anything, strengthen your relationships with others and your relationship with the world as a whole. Sometimes when a person has a spiritual epiphany, it kind of pulls them into themselves. I think in this case, if anything, it's going to push you farther out into working with others. And lastly, we have the 7 of Swords, which says, yeah, you may feel the effort of this at times. And we're talking again 2 to 3 weeks, but not, it's certainly not overwhelming. It is saying that there is effort that will have to be put out. You're going to have to focus on what it is that you want, but doing so will keep you in a good place. I'm not going to say it's going to bring you to a good place, because I think you're probably already in one, but it's going to keep you there and perhaps improve it. And is there anything else I can tell you?
No, that was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So one more for broadcast. Michael.
Okay, Michael.
Thank
And this
you,
will be
Lord.
our last broadcast reading,
We'll go ahead and continue on.
but we will continue after we end the broadcast. Where are you, Michael? Oh, there you are. There you are. You know, the little boxes move around.
They do.
I saw you earlier, and then so what would you like to know?
I have recently been tailoring my how I practice to be able to include more technology and just get it to what works better for me. And I kind of want to know, and simultaneously, I'm also documenting what I've been doing online, so that if anyone else has a similar interest, they can see at least what I've had to go through to learn. And I kind of want to know if the universe has any advice.
Could you say that again? The last bit?
I just want to know if the universe has any advice for me.
Okay. So I'm adding in the astrology deck. And if this is anything like the last reading, we will get some astrology cards. Because, you know, all the little decks want to shine. So we're asking about the advice of the universe in going forward with this ongoing change and development in your spiritual practice. And this time I actually let the card jump out. Now, I've never been one of those people who can do the fan shuffle. So this is the way I've always shuffled my cards. So let us draw 3 cards. So we've drawn Capricorn, Mars, and the 5 of Swords. And out of the deck, we got the 2 of Swords and Pisces, who basically fell out. So I'm going to start with the first one that fell out, the 2 of Swords. And the 2 of Swords has to do with usually an alliance or relationship with another person. So I would say that someone else is going to strongly influence what you're doing. It could be someone in your personal life, or given the subject matter of the reading, it could also be someone who has specific teachings that will be helpful for you. It is not usually a romantic relationship that this card refers to. That would be more likely the 2 of Cups. So a teacher, I think, or an author who has concepts that are relevant to you, I think is likely to be indicated, or someone that you might know who could add to what you're doing. With it is Pisces. Pisces is idealism. Pisces tends to be emotional. Pisces is very psychic. But Pisces also tends to get defocused easily. So I would take this to mean maintain your focus, but also be receptive to your emotions and your psychic influences. Pay attention to your spiritual leadings as you do this, but do keep your grounding. Because with Pisces coming out here, I would say grounding could be an issue. Now, the next cards we've drawn, Capricorn, Mars, 5 of Swords. Capricorn really kind of reiterates in the context of this reading what I was just saying. Keeping your grounding is very important. Capricorn is very practical, very focused, very grounded. And so I would say that as advice for what you need to do going forward, it's saying make sure you keep your grounding in the physical world while you're working with these spiritual things, and go forward strongly with where you're being led. Mars is strength, energy, focus, and direction. And it's saying that you should go forward. You should go forward strongly. You should not let anything hold you back, but do maintain your grounding. You also have the 5 of Swords, which I'm going to take in this particular context to say the world, it may feel like the world is trying to pull you off of this, that there are all kinds of little things going on around you that are trying to take your attention, but you want to continue going forward with this, with the spiritual work that you're doing. And again, stay grounded. And we're going to draw 3 more. We have Mercury. We have 11. And we have the 2 of Lamps. Mercury is another card that, in the context of this question, I would say indicates an importance of maintaining a spiritual focus. Mercury is often regarded as a patron of the metaphysical arts, particularly because of connection to the Egyptian Thoth, and through Hermetics, etc. So I would say it's saying, again, this is a very important development that you're doing. It's very important for you to continue to work with it. Do not let the world pull you off of it, but do stay grounded. The 11 is, again, psychic abilities, psychic openings. And so I would say that whatever it is that you're consciously doing in changing your practice, it's going to have an effect on your psychic abilities. So be aware of that. That also could, to some extent, speak to Pisces up here. So be aware that you may find yourself being a little more psychic than you have been. You may find yourself picking up things that maybe are not your own. So be conscious of that. And then we have the Two of Lamps. And the Two of Lamps is the beginning of spiritual journeys. And what she's saying to you is, you may feel like you're way far along with this, but you're only at the beginning. There's a lot more that's going to be coming. And you want to go ahead and work with it and let it take you where it's going to take you. There's a lot more than you've seen so far that will reveal itself to you as you go. Now I'm going to roll one more card, and we'll see if they let me make it just one card. Well, we've drawn the Two of Wands, and Two of Wands basically just reinforces what we were just saying. It again has to do with beginning and journeys, going in new directions. And so what I would say is that this spiritual change, the spiritual development and transformation that you're working on is going to take you farther than you realize, and that's good. There's more to it than you're anticipating, but it's a good positive development. And as far as advice goes, which was our actual question, the advice is to go forward strongly, don't back off, but do stay grounded and realize that it may be easy to be distracted by practical matters. And certainly you want to attend to those, but don't let them distract you. Stay focused on spirituality and be aware there may be another person who will be an influence on it. And there you go. I hope that was helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I believe that that will conclude the broadcast portion of the evening, but we are going to do some more readings after. And I would like to remind you that if you'd like to learn more about the Infinite Tarot, you can do so at tarotai.com.